Hey YouTube, this is Jaden coming at you. I have a new, not a new deck, but I have an updated deck profile here for you today. If you guys watched the original deck profile that I posted of this, I posted it shortly after our first major Vanguard tournament. That was for qualification or whatever you want to call it. And the deck just didn't work for me. I was so ticked off with the deck. I literally put it back in its deck box, didn't touch it for weeks. Weeks turned into months, and then finally today I went by my card shop and I decided to pull the deck out and give it a shot, and I made a few changes to it that was also put in by a teammate of mine named Cody, and he took this to a major tournament. It worked well for him, and a couple of my other teammates have been using it and doing well with it, so I decided it was finally time for me to pick the deck back up and at least try to make it work, because this was the reason I actually started playing the game. So anyway, let's get into this. For the starter, and the only one that I can find room for, is Wingle Brave. I would play 2 Wingle Brave, but the problem is, if you play more Wingle Braves, then that means you're going to have less grade 1s or 2s, and that's going to hurt your chances of getting your boosters or getting your extra attackers to go outside of with your Vanguard, and it just sets up for bad things. I think probably my main problem is when I did play the deck, I was playing 3. 3 Wingle Brave is way overkill, and I realize that now. At most, I think if you were going to play any more, you can only play 2, and I haven't really decided what I would cut if I would, play 2 anyway. So, gotta stick with the 1. 6 critical triggers, 4 Lou because it's the only double rare trigger in the game, and 2 Owl because we all, especially my teammates, they already know this, but I can't stand the critical trigger Epona. And mainly for the fact that it looks like a bug, and I hate bugs. Mainly because I hate Insectors for Yu-Gi-Oh! 6 draw trigger. The draw triggers really work well in this deck. The 4 Margle and the 2 weapons dealer, Gavanin, whatever. Margle is a very underrated card for this deck, and so many players don't know how to abuse this card. Because think of it, when you have Majesty swinging by himself and both blasters going to the soul, he'll be at 22k when he swings. If you put Margle in the soul with him before he attacks, he's going to go to 25. Or you can simply boost with Margle and he'll be at 26, which is a really good attacker, especially if you hit grade 3 before your opponent, because chances are by that point you'll already have them at least 2 damage, so you'll be swinging 26k double critical, and who knows, you might get lucky and hit 2 critical and at least have a shot of winning the game right there. So Margle is really an underrated card for this deck. And then finally, for Elaine, the 4 heal trigger. That's the grade 0s. The grade 1s. Like every deck that I will ever run for Vanguard, I play 4 perfects, so in this case 4 Flash Shield Exalt. 4 8k boosters in Marin. Behind Majesty, she sits at 20. If you have it behind Majesty when the blasters enter the soul, he's at 30. So Marin puts in work. Also, you can stick her behind Palamedes, and he'll hit 21. So just a very good card. Then we play 4 Knight of Friendship K, which is, I'd say, one of my favorite arts of the deck. I just like the art, the design they did on him very well. He is one of the most busted cards in the deck because you can call him to a rearguard circle in the front row when Blaster Darker Blade is your Vanguard, more than likely, and he'll swing for 10k. Or if Majesty's your Vanguard, anytime a Blaster's your Vanguard, he's going to be swinging for 10. So, and then if you pull Palamedes, you can call him back and slide Palamedes in front of him, and then you got a 20k column. So he's very versatile. He can either be attacking for 10 or boost for, or help boost and make a 20k row. He's just so versatile. And then, finally, to round out the grade 1s, I play 3 Lake Maiden Leanne, which is a really good card to ride if you are not starting the game, because you can drop... it's a good card to play for your Vanguard if you start, because since you can't attack, you can use this to drop that weapons dealer Gavanin or that extra card in the hand that you really don't need, and you can try and maybe get a card that you do need, like one of the blasters, maybe a grade 3 or whatever you may need at the time. Grade 2s. We play 4 Blaster Blade, and I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain this card. I mean, if you play Vanguard and you watch the anime, you know what this card does. I will say, if you have SP Blaster Blades out of set 1, please let me know. I want 4 for this deck, and unfortunately I only have 1. And then only 3 Blaster Dark. I still see Majesty decks ran that play 4 Blaster Dark, and I don't understand that. Blaster Dark is one of my favorite cards, don't get me wrong. But compared to Blaster Blade, he's nowhere near as good, mainly because Blaster Blade's ability can be activated on the Vanguard or the Rearguard Circle, where Blaster Dart can only be used on the Vanguard. And if you stick him on the Rearguard, he's just a 9k vanilla, which really is not that great. You know, it's Blaster Dark. You need him for the deck, so you need to run at least 3. I have 1 SP, but I'm looking for 2 more. If you have them, PM me and we can talk. 2-star Call Trumpeter, she is mainly there as your wild card. Say you have a Blaster Blade and you just rode Majesty but you don't have Blaster Dark, you can use her to get the Blaster Dark you need, or in vice versa. So she's just kind of like your free blaster, so to speak. And then 2 Knight of Loyalty Bedivere. I'd like to play 3, but the main problem is after you put in the Blaster Blades, the Blaster Darks, and the Star Calls, you just don't have enough room, so you gotta go with 2. And then finally, grade 3s. First, the main guy of the deck, 3 Majesty Lord Blaster. This is the card that is number 1 on my top 5 faves list, even though I haven't used this deck in competitive play in some time. But just for argument's sake, both blasters enter the soul. He gains 10,000 power, and as long as they're in there, he gains plus 2k and a crit. I mean, he is so good. But you really only need 3, because once you get the one on the Vanguard, you might use one of them as a rear guard, and then you might use the other one to pitch with the perfect guard. As a backup Vanguard, I play 1 King of Knights Alfred. I was having a discussion with my teammate Cody, and we were trying to decide, you know, which is more what is one of the most consistent cards for Royal Paladin. And Majesty's consistent, but I would say Alfred is more consistent, because Alfred is just, ever since Alfred came out, he is just I mean, there's Alfred beat decks for a reason. This guy, he's just so good. People forget that you can stick him on a rear guard and still use his Counterblast 3 and call something out of the deck. So even if I already have Majesty as my Vanguard, I can stick him on the rear guard and call out Marin maybe to support Majesty with, or maybe call out a Marin to support a Palamedes, or, I mean, Alfred is just he's so versatile, he's so consistent. Love him to death. And then finally, 3 Explosive Swordsman of the Flames Palamedes. I think I said that right. Swordsman of the Explosive Flames Palamedes. I have 2 SPs. I want 1 more, so if you have an SP Palamedes, let me know. I want to SP this deck out, so if there's any card you have that can be SP'd, let me know. But this is kind of like your big finisher. Once you have drawn out that perfect with Majesty, because your opponent is going to want to perfect that if they're at 5 damage or 4 damage, because it'll be the end of the game. You can throw all your triggers on Palamedes. Hopefully you have a Marin behind him, so he's at 21, so he's the highest that he can possibly be. And then you can swing for the fences, and it'll be eventually... They might be able to guard against you for 1 whole attack, but eventually they're going to run out of cards, because they just won't have enough to guard with. So, anyway, this has just been a quick update on this. You know, I haven't really decided what I'm going to play at the tournament this weekend. I think I'm probably going to stick to the deck that I have been winning with. But this deck will be played in a competitive tournament again soon by me. I promise that. But like I said, this deck's still it's one of the best decks for a reason, and it's any Vanguard that can consistently carry an extra crit on top of him at all times is going to be a threat. So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions on the deck or suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments section below. I'll be sure to read all those. And keep remember getting the word out on the channel. We're at 32 subscribers. We need 50 to do the mat contest, which, like I've shown you guys before, it's just going to be one of the basic Vanguard mats that are made out of rubber, that are the full-size mats, not these little small ones that we get at the pre-releases. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that jazz. See y'all later.